With Season 4, Episode 3 of True Detective coming to an end, that means it's time to break down the trailer for Episode 4. Technically, this episode will mark the beginning of the end. Can we say that? Well, it's the first of the final 3 episodes, so I'm gonna say it. With Episode 3 throwing so many hints and clues into the mix, whilst also putting more questions out there too about the death of Annie and its connection to the scientists. Yep, I still can't get over that scene with Lund. So I thought it would be worth looking ahead to next week and giving my theories and predictions on what I think will happen next. So let's get into it. Here is True Detective Season 4 Episode 4 Trailer Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. So the trailer for the next episode opened up with Connolly inside of Danvers' office, and he said the line, "You've got 6 dead bodies in the ice rink. You have protests around the mine. You need to get this under control." With Connolly keen to get Anchorage involved in the case, which is the police force in the largest city in Alaska, it looks like Liz is going to be facing pressure from the higher-ups to get Ennis in order, as it does actually sound a complete mess at the moment. As Connolly was saying this, it seemed like the 6 bodies were fully thawed, and the loophole and rule that Liz pulled out in order to keep them from being moved to Anchorage 48 hours ago was now up. So her time with the bodies was done, and it seems like they're going to be getting transported out of the town now. This means that the bodies will most likely be able to be forensically analysed, and we should hopefully be able to see if there are any prints that are there that shouldn't be. And we should also find out what their actual cause of death was. Did they die before they hit the ice like Pete's vet friend said? Or did they die whilst out on the ice? That answer will allow the case to be developed to another level and bring us closer to finding out what actually happened. As well as that, there was a shot of Liz outside the front of the mining company headquarters, where there was graffiti on the front which read "Murderers." This was most likely done by the group that we saw meeting in Episode 3, which Leah was joining and participating in. They were mainly focused on the destruction and devastation that the mining company was doing on the town of Ennis, and the right that they had to the land that their ancestors were on before. However, now they were being treated like second-class citizens and having to live in conditions where they couldn't even access clean drinking water, showing that they were a second thought to the mining company. So this constant tension that has been present throughout the entirety of the season will most likely be reaching another level by the end of the next episode. After this, there was then a section that was focused on the video that was being played on Annie's phone at the end of the previous episode, where we saw that it seemed like she was being attacked, and which finished with there being the bones of some kind of animal what was in the shape of a spiral, just like the iconic symbol. These bones look like what were in the title sequence for the show too, so I'm wondering if this is what was featured at the end of the video that was recorded. The line of dialogue that was spoken was by Evangeline, and she said, "There aren't any ice caves near where her body was found." This was intercut with a shot of Evangeline on the phone, most likely to Liz, and also a clip of Liz looking at the video on the phone with a focus on the bones that were in the ice. There's 2 things that I took away from this. Is the ice cave where Annie was killed? And then, was she moved to the storage unit? Or was this video taken from a different time? Plus, I also feel the fact that the bones look like some type of fossil. It could be a clue as to where Annie was during the video. So I feel that could be what Liz was looking at, and the reason as to why she went to her friend Adam in the next clip. Judging by the way that his room is structured, there were a couple of maps on the wall, so I feel they're going to be showing him the video, or at least the location that they think the video was taken, so that he can give his opinion on if he thinks it's correct. Prior to this, we saw a clip of Evangeline and Pete going off to what looked like an abandoned site in the middle of nowhere. Again, another location which featured in the title sequence. So it's one that's most probably going to be of importance. And it was here where we saw that they were investigating the place to see if it could be where Annie was when the video was recorded. The line of dialogue that was spoken was by Adam, and he said, "It's a death trap. There were a bunch of accidents up there years ago." This was intertwined with Liz walking through a snowed out room where we saw the spiral symbol on the wall, and also other drawings that were on the wall. The drawing that was on the wall here reminded me of the one that Rust and Marty found inside of the abandoned church that Childress painted on there. Plus, there was a crown on the head of the drawing here. Could that be a hint towards the Yellow King? I wonder if the accidents that Adam is referring to is linked to the cult in some way. Were there accidents, or were there killings that were taking place that were deliberate? What was interesting as well was that there was a set of folded up clothes, just like what we saw alongside the bodies that were found out on the ice. So I wonder if this is where they're going to find Raymond Clarke. There were boots and clothes, and there were also singular footprints that were present in the snow that had settled. so they must have been relatively fresh and been on their own. As Liz was walking through and looking at the footprints, Pete said, "The men out there are looking for Clarke," to which there was a shot of Pete and Evangeline having the light shined on them. I think this is just the reverse side of this shot, and it will be Liz shining her torch towards them. So they were most probably exploring the other side of the facility. From here, we then entered the part of the trailer where the music upped its tempo and the ante also increased. The main line of dialogue that was spoken was, "It takes us one by one." This wasn't the voice of Liz or Evangeline, so I wonder if it's either going to be Evangeline's sister talking about maybe what she's going through, or could it be the voice from a flashback and it's connected to Annie, and maybe it could be her speaking. Personally, I hope it is, as it will provide more clarity if it is Annie. Throughout this piece of dialogue being spoken, we saw a clip of what I imagine is Evangeline's sister being admitted to a hospital due to her mental health. I'm presuming this is the lighthouse that was spoken about before, and I'm guessing it's her who's going to be seeing an orange under her bed that's rolling out from underneath it. That's due to the white slippers that are being worn, as I imagine that's what a patient would wear. Within the most recent episode, we saw that Evangeline had an orange in her hand, and it's also a prominent feature in the title sequence, earning a couple of seconds of screen time, so it's going to be something that proves to be important. Alongside this, there was also a clip of a stone with the spiral engraved onto it, along with a drawing of the spiral on a piece of paper that was behind it. So I'm guessing this is what Liz is going to find when down in the facility that she was exploring. There was then a piece of dialogue which was spoken, which was, "There's nothing except us." This sounded like it was being spoken by Liz, and it's most probably going to be aimed towards Leah as she looks to drift further away from her stepmother and get more in touch with her heritage and the community that she wants to be a part of. But I imagine Liz will still be resisting and wants her to stick with her because she fears for her safety and worries that she might annoy the wrong type of people and end up like Annie. Maybe Leah could have been involved in the vandalism that we saw at the start of the trailer, and that's where this conversation could have come from. The final thing that we saw in the trailer was of Liz and Evangeline standing out in the snow, and the line, "We're all in the night country," was spoken in some kind of sinister, supernatural and demonic voice. So I wonder if what this supernatural entity is, it waited for the never-ending night to arrive before truly showing itself. During this clip, it looked like Evangeline had injuries and a black eye. I'm going to presume that she was involved in the incident where it seemed like her car drove into the snow, and that's where she got her injuries from. There was a scene in the Weeks Ahead trailer after the first episode where Liz was asking Evangeline what she saw when she was out on the ice, and Evangeline refused to tell her. So I think it's going to be connected to that. Maybe she saw Liz's son again and she doesn't want to tell her, as it seemed like there was going to be another flashback about that. And then the trailer came to an end. It looks like next week's episode is going to shed some light on the symbol, its connection to the environment and also the killings that have occurred. Whilst we know of it because of its connection to Season 1, and I would love for it to be connected due to the Tuttle's funding of the Salal Research Centre, but I feel it could mean something different in this season. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So, there you have it, True Detective Season 4 Episode 4 Trailer Explained. If you want to see more videos on True Detective, then click on the card in the top corner. I also did a video where I delve inside the mind of Rust Cole from Season 1, so if you want to give that a watch, that's over on the channel or in the top corner too.